one of the interesting things I think about all this is the way that Trump's own top team are at loggerheads with each other very publicly. And I'm talking particularly about Elon Musk and Peter Navarro. So you've got Musk, who seemed to be Trump's right-hand guy on all things economic and Doge and so on. And you've got Navarro, who's one of his top trade advisors. And they're openly abusing each other and attacking each other. And it's clear that they have a fundamental disagreement over whether tariffs could work. You know, Elon Musk looks at this as a business guy running huge businesses, which are currently taking a hell of a beating. Very difficult to make Tesla cars at affordable prices, given how many parts they source from outside America, if the tariffs make it prohibitive to do so. So he has, you know, on the one hand, he's trying to cut waste. On the other hand, he's trying to save his own businesses. Navarro, completely different. You know, he's all in with all this. I can't remember a time where you've seen senior people in an administration so early into a presidency publicly having this kind of slanging match. I mean, I got to say, I find it quite healthy. You know, I don't really like the concept of collective responsibility where everyone pretends they all agree with each other. But what we're seeing are the kind of inner conversations all playing out in public, a bit like we saw with Trump and J.D. Vance and President Zelensky. You know, it is very transparent. But what do you think of it? Is this healthy or not?
I love it. Frankly, this puts the lie to the fact, you know, what Democrats are saying, that Trump is a king. You think a king would allow dissension within the ranks? I don't think so. So I'm actually really happy to see this spilling out into the public. And I think retardo, which is the phrase that Elon used, is actually pretty clever. And I want to say, last time, Pierce, you questioned my loyalty. I want to say one thing, though. I lost like 25% of my net worth in the last couple of weeks because I am so heavy on the NASDAQ and tech stocks, yet I am willing to give Trump a chance. It's only been 4.5 trading days, so I'm willing to see how this is going to play out. And frankly, as Caroline Levitt just said a few hours ago, Trump has a spine of steel. I'm sorry. So let's just see who's going to blink first. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to China and the United States. It's really about these two countries. He's slapping tariffs everywhere to make sure that China has nowhere to go, to make sure that they can't have any loopholes. But we'll just see what happens because obviously the status quo isn't working. We're seeing so many cities around the country being completely decimated. And maybe this will lead companies to reshore, perhaps, and reindustrialize. Perhaps this is, in fact, the medicine that we need. But again, we also have to mention that we have increasingly financialized our economy, and Wall Street doesn't necessarily reflect Main Street. And most Trump supporters, a lot of them don't own stocks, so they're not feeling the pain. But I am really glad that you mentioned that Elon is dissenting. Bill Ackman, for instance.
I mean, most people in general don't own stocks. I think what they say, like, what, the top 10% own 90% of the stocks. So that says a lot.
Is also speaking up. This is a good sign. It's a sign of a healthy democracy. So all the Democrats out there marching and saying, you know, during a hands-off protest saying that Trump is a monarch, a king, that's absolutely not true. Because I was born in an authoritarian regime, and you better believe that no one is allowed at the danger of death to speak out against Xi Jinping.